We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 36 of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings, the greatest of all times. And we're here to have an all-time great of a time. Alyssa and Sarah back at the desk. You know it's a softball edition. Justin Heldkamp next to me, Brandon Carnes here. We are into regional play in the softball state tournament. Once you get to this point, the Sweet 16, if you will, what does it take for these teams to punch their ticket to Akron? Because softball, right, a lot different than maybe football, maybe basketball, where the best player, the team with the best player quite often wins, right? But in this case, if your best player is not your pitcher, you might only see them make a play 2-3 times in a game, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
What do you say, Alyssa?
Well, score more runs than the other team. It's a given.
You heard it here first.
But in all seriousness, no, playing your game and playing within yourself, I think, is a huge part of it. But to your point, it's not just one player. It's the whole team. It takes everybody being on, everybody doing their job, you know, making the plays, the routine plays. As funny as it is, those often end up being the ones that are somehow the most difficult at times. But just, you know, again, playing your game.
Absolutely. Justin.
Well, 100%. Change it to baseball real quick. Defiance was one of the top-ranked teams in the state of Ohio, lost their first game of the tournament last week.
Yeah.
So it's guaranteed that not the supreme-ranked team is going to win and win easily and coast to the state tournament level. So, one, I think you got to have a luck of the draw, and I'll get to something that parlays into that topic here in this in a second.
Beautiful.
Also, calm under pressure. The season is on the line. You're going to have players and situations who are under the gun, who have to make a pitch, who have to throw a strike, who have to make a play, who have to make a double play, who have to make the correct base running move, who have to listen to a third base coach to potentially score the tying or winning run. Those tiny types of details, I think, are key ingredients to getting to Akron. And then I think body language parlays into those pressure-packed situations. So you, as a coach, you can tell when someone's nervous. As a player, you can tell when someone's nervous and not up to the moment. So can teammates. So can opposing players. So can opposing fans or your fans. And the most key ingredient there, I think, is teammates. So if they see someone who's ready for the moment and is not nervous, has great body language and confidence, and is exuding that confidence, that only plays into the fact that, hey, we're here to compete and win. Let's do it together.
And
Absolutely.
getting hot at the right time, right? You talk about baseball. Go back to the MAC tournament last week where Toledo baseball was the hottest team and just, you know, fell to the best team, which is going to happen in some cases. We've got plenty of playoff action on the softball diamond coming your way. Of course, our game of the week, clip of the week, and so much more. Make sure you're here every single Wednesday for a brand new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast, 4 p.m. everywhere you're going to get your audio mediums or bcsnnation.com/podcast. And make sure from Wednesday to Wednesday you're following at BCSN Sports on all social media platforms so you don't miss a thing. And it's time for Take Note, your favorite little segment where we get you caught up on some news and noteworthy performances over the last couple of weeks. Justin, you can take the first swing.
All right, here we go. A couple things. You know, I love my teases. So right here we have our sheet. First team, all BCSN softball. So Alyssa will come up with a team. I'll come up with a team. Carnes, feel free to chime in as well. But we will have that 2 weeks from now. So we'll have 2 pitchers, 2 catchers, 7 infielders/outfielders, 3 utility players, something we've been doing the last few years with softball and baseball. So we'll have that, and we'll be talking about some of them here, teams that have advanced to the regionals. My newsworthy note, 4 NLL teams, 3 Northern Buckeye Conference teams still alive in the regionals. We're going to talk about the 4 NLL teams here throughout the rest of the podcast, but you also got teams representing Northwest Ohio as a whole: Lake, Bryan, Eastwood, Oak Harbor, Elmwood, Montpelier, Ada, Gibsonburg, Hilltop, Mohawk, Ayersville, and Calvert. So all of these teams, especially with the expansion of the OHSA softball playoffs from 4 divisions to 7 divisions, it's a busy time of year, and teams have seen their seasons prolonged as a result.
Good reason to be busy. Alyssa, you're up.
I want to talk about the Start versus Clay game. I actually called that one last week. Start was down for most of the game. This is a team that played, I think, up until that point, 8 games total all season. So not a lot of time, not a lot of room to feel each other out, learn how everyone plays, and really kind of find their groove and get into a groove. But they didn't lay down. Clay laid it on them pretty well, but Start had no give up at any point. And for a young team, a team that has not, again, gotten to play a lot together, I was really impressed.
Yeah, new coach, a whole new situation, right?
Entirely. And I think that there is a lot of good things to come, and I think Start is going to be a team to watch out for next season.
There you go. You heard it here first. Be ready for 2026 Start Spartans softball. I'm taking the low-hanging fruit. Molly Connor, we could have picked her many a time this season. Just could sniff the perfect game, taking on Southview on Friday, 1 out away from the perfect game was Molly Connor. They get the win, just misses the perfect game, but closes it out. And there's, few things that the Notre Dame commit hasn't done on the diamond. She sat down with Yao Bansu this week for Sports Nightly. She wanted to be someone the team would fall back on, and she said she's not taking her foot off the gas, dialed in at bullpens, at practice. When you have your best player with the mentality that every single practice, every single bullpen session matters, that's a good sign as you're heading into with some things that we saw with Anthony Wayne, where maybe they didn't have the offense going this season, but that person on your team is saying, look to me, this is what we do, this is how we get back to a state championship, this is how we win this state championship.
100%. She, keep in mind, has been at the varsity level for a number of years, but she had a ton of talent on her team last year.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, they still have it this year, but top's D1 talent nearly from top to bottom in their 9-batter roster and lineup last season. So she had a new role as a senior leader as opposed to someone who's been a D1 recruit on the radar of D1 recruits since her freshman or sophomore year. When it comes to softball, the eyes are on you that early. And this year, she took it upon herself to be that role model and leader. First one on the field, last one to leave the dugout type of deal. Yep. And then lead by example, but also more of a heightened verbal leader as well. Yeah,
and when you're that person, right, every bad turn, everybody kind of looks to you like, oh, Molly's still calm. We're okay. We're in this, right? You love to have that in your star player. Something else coming up. We're going to talk about a lot of star players at BCSN Honors. It's getting ever closer, June 8th. We're going to talk you through some of our nominees this week. We'll get into more of them next week. We'll start with individual performance. Our first one we'll look at. The nominees are Blake Robeson of Anthony Wayne. Huge game against Start during basketball season. A game-winning basket, 34 points. Max Buff, the Buff family, synonymous with state championships in St. Francis swimming. Won the 100-yard butterfly in Division I state championship, 47.21 timing. And then Ariana Kiesling from Napoleon Bowling, her second state championship in her high school career, the Division II state title, 703 pins in 3 games. I think I know where Rhett Boyd's vote would have gone if we're looking at this. He loved that Blake Robeson game for Anthony Wayne earlier this season. Slide number 2, breakthrough performance. And we're getting friendly with Findlay. Ella Borselman up at the top, another Napoleon Wildcat, Division II 1-meter state championship. And then we've got Kate Simmons, went on a heck of a run at the state wrestling tournament, was the OHS WCA Outstanding Wrestler on way to her state championship. And then Landon Eckleberry, no matter what season, he's going to get it done for the Trojans. Football, wrestling, baseball, been a star all season long. Game of the year, here we go. Keep them rolling, Cisco. Booyah. Bowser and Waite City League represent a tremendous game, a tremendous play from Damian Harrington. SportsCenter Top 10 also went on to be a Know Your Teammate star for us in the fall. Ursuline Central Catholic, Ali Baydoun finds Preston Frizel with 33 seconds left to go in the game, and then St. Edward St. John's on the hoops court. What a great game that was, close to the end of the season. Student section of the year. Keep them rolling, Cisco. Listen, y'all represented all fall, all winter long, all the posts we could get for Unison and Mental Health Recovery Services Board student sections of the season. Both of our winners up for student section of the year in Maumee and St. Francis. Now play of the year. Trying to catch my breath. Here we go. Grace Spentoff from St. Ursula. You see it up there. October 24th, Division II District Championship game. Clears the ball. Gets the win for the Arrows as they go on to win 1-0 in OOT. And then Sam Wiles. I know Dion loved this play. January 10th, buzzer beater over Springfield for the Bobcats, 52-50. And then Will Macy's. Tough to play bigger than in your rivalry. The battle for Sylvania. The SWAT to end the game. Those are our nominees for individual performance, breakthrough performance, game of the year, student section of the year, play of the year. Hit a 30-second commercial, Cisco. I need to catch my breath. We'll be right back. B-Dubs, hit it.
Buffalo Wild Wings buy one, get one free boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go, go, go! Ah! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Skydiving, maybe not the best way to catch your breath, letting your co-host talk about a Central Catholic Springfield softball game. A good way for me to relax. Central Catholic falls 6-4. The Lady Devils move on now in regional play. 6-4 the final score, Justin.
Yeah, Kenya Crowley recently named the NLL Cardinal Division Player of the Year for Springfield. Win that game 6-4, but just up and down their lineup, they have consistent offense. Cam Eckhart, Cameron Hall, Callie Chapetta, Hannah Schlachter, just on down the list. And I'm missing some names as well. We can't list them all, but Coach Rob Guad's named the Coach of the Year within the Cardinal Division as they take a look at where they are placed in the D3 region and the top 16 teams left in the state. And I took a look at the state rankings for D3 and the state top 10. 7 of the 10 are still alive in the region, so still chasing a state title. Springfield will face Aurora on Wednesday. But for Central Catholic, they played well, but just stranded runners. And you can't leave runners on base when they're in scoring position in a high-level stakes game like that, because it's crushing when you get out, and it's so uplifting on the defensive side and the pitcher side. Generally, that great defense or converting and getting out of a bases-loaded jam type of situation leads to whole upward movement in the psyche of the team heading into the dugout to go get the bats. And 6-4 final score. Both teams represented here in NLL and Catholic League, Alyssa.
Absolutely. You talk about leaving runners on bases. That is key. And it's really, really frustrating because you get those runners in scoring position, but getting them over the line is the holdup. So, figuring out what you need to do to get a run across the board, figure out how to push the ball to the right side of the field, hit behind the runner, that sort of thing. But just making those adjustments early and figuring out what you need to do early before, it really gets away from you.
Yeah, somebody at this table so eloquently said earlier in the pod, you got to score more runs to win. And a lot of times, right, the credit goes negatively against the team that stranded 8 base runners in Central. But it's also Springfield finding ways to make plays when you're in trouble, right, when things are not at their best. And you talked about Kenya Crowley set the single-season record for Springfield for home runs against Notre Dame in the district semifinal, then wins NLL Player of the Year. They've got 6 first-team All-NLL players, 3 second-team All-NLL players. This is a team we talked about before the season. They should be here, right? This is a team we expected to be here, but they have handled business consistently. Now we've got a bracket to throw up, Cisco. Let me see what's going to go on after this win. Here we go. Now that we are into regional finals, this is regions 11 and 12 for D3. Springfield up at the top. You see them taking on Aurora. That'll be Wednesday the 28th. And then at the bottom, we've got Wapakoneta, Madison, Louisville, Gilmore, and then Boardman and Talmadge. These are teams that they would take on as they get into regional finals, state semifinals, etc. Justin?
Yeah, I think with all these teams, like I mentioned, 7 out of the 10 state-ranked teams are still alive, so in this final 16. So we have seen a little bit of upsets just depending upon which region of the state in which you're talking about. But with Springfield, what I like about them is in the NLL, within the same league, yes, different divisions, Buckeye and Cardinal, but Haley Griggs from Perrysburg stands out. She's going to Florida State, one of the top teams in the entire country. Right. Molly Connor, we've talked about, going to Notre Dame. Say Notre Dame, it stands out. Springfield doesn't have one of those singular players who is going big time, but they have a lot of players who are going to play college ball at the next level, at various D1 programs, but also the Siena Heights of the world, the Adrian Colleges of the world, Detroit Mercies of the world. So when you add up a bunch of them throughout a lineup and in the infield, in the circle, in the outfield, on the base pass, a lot of those little players contribute, and then the sum is greater than their parts in some ways. And then when you got Coach Rob Guads, who's been there for 2 decades and knows how to put the pieces of the puzzle together and knows how to get to the next level from sectionals to districts to regionals to state, he knows what he's doing, and he can push the right type of buttons to get this Blue Devils where they need to be and where they want to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's been there. He's done that.
Yeah.
So.
Expertise in getting to where they need to go. You know who else is an expert at getting things done? It's the Walleye. They're our clip of the week, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Hit it, Cisco. Getting it done when it mattered. Game 5, the Walleye taking on KC, getting revenge. The team that knocked them out of the Western Conference Finals last year, they get it done. That first goal by Matt Anderson, just chef's kiss, beautiful. Trent Bliss tallies 2 of his own. The Walleye get the win 5-2. The Walleye win the series 4-1, and they will take on, hold on, let me get classy for a second. I need like a cup of tea or something. Trois-Rivières. For those of you that are uncultured, that's 3 Rivers up in Quebec. Western Conference champions, Toledo Walleye.
Uncultured, that's great.
Trois-Rivières.
Yeah, congrats to them. That's one of the best pictures in all of the sports when you got a trophy and you got the entire team and organization. You got the mascot there. You win it on home ice. That's what I love about this series. And when you can close it out at home, just the atmosphere. We're in the TV business, people, so we love to see the hands and the fists rising to the air. That's what makes those home ice advantages, or home field, home stadium, whatever the case may be. That's what makes it so great to see, and they earned it. You know, this is a Walleye organization from top to bottom that strives to bring a Kelly Cup. They want to bring it to the downtown streets in a celebration parade style, but they got 4 more games to get, and they'll go north of the border just like they did in 2019 when they played
Newfies.
Newfoundland. The Growlers came up short in 6 games, if memory serves me correctly.
Yep.
So they will try to avenge the neighbors to the north, albeit a different organization. But I think many pieces from that Growlers organization have now gone to the Quebec, Montreal area with the Lions. But go get them, Walleye.
And there's lost in all the stuff you see on the ice, right, is behind that team, right? Huntington Center is, and it's heralded by every team that comes to Toledo. Every Walleye player that leaves the organization says that the Huntington Center is as raucous an environment as there is in hockey, period, minor league hockey especially, right? It doesn't get much better than Huntington Center. All the hands shooting the air, the Walleye getting thrown on the ice. That series kicks off Saturday, 7 p.m. at the Huntington Center. They get home ice advantage. Our clip of the week brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. The Toledo Walleye, our Western Conference champions, headed to the Kelly Cup Finals. Now it's time to continue as we go down, look down memory lane and looking forward. Clay and Northview met up in the district final last week. The Eagles get the win over the Lady Cats. 7-1 the final, but Northview came out and battled in this game.
Absolutely. It was rainy. It was a cold game. It was definitely not ideal conditions, but it's pretty typical of Northwest Ohio.
Yeah.
But no, I was really impressed by Clay. I mean, offensively, just very, very impressed with them. I think it speaks for themselves. They have outscored teams 23-4 so far in the playoffs. I mean, that's no small task, and they are making it look easy.
And they have another player, right, Olivia Haas, who has done such a great job in the field for them, stepped up on the mound in this one, didn't allow a hit into the 4th inning, induced 10 ground outs, right? We talk about a player like Molly Connor. We know she's going to blow a ball by you, but a lot like we saw with Perrysburg last year, right? They have somebody here in Olivia Haas who can just get you out. I don't care how it happens. Outs are outs, right?
Yeah, pitch to contact. Let your defense make plays. That's why you take a bunch of ground balls during practice. That's why you take a bunch of fly balls and catchers block pitches and all that type of stuff. That's why you do it. So it's totally okay to get outs in a variety of different ways. You don't just have to have 21 strikeouts. So Olivia Haas, credit to her. Maddie Frankie, Bryn Ryder, Zoe Zaradnik, hard to pronounce. Helly Haynes has done a great job for them. Coach Brenda Radeball, same thing as Coach Rob Guads. They know how to put the pieces of the puzzle together. The offense has been consistent, very similar to Springfield. Up and down that roster, you put pressure on opposing defenses to make plays, and when you put the ball in play, anything can happen. When you swing and miss 3 times or take pitches over the plate, nothing can happen. So you got to swing the bat to put the action in play and give yourself a chance, and that's what they've done. That equates to runs that Alyssa was alluding to. And this was a rematch of a regular season game in which Northview beat Clay. So you had the revenge factor there. So Coach Chad Savage at Northview done a stellar job. I believe it's his first year here with the Wildcats for him to be voted Coach of the Year within the Buckeye with teams like Perrysburg, who's top 2 in the state.
Yep.
So he made his name and made his team known this year. So credit to him. But Clay now one of 10 teams. So in D2, all 10 state-ranked teams, all 10 are still alive in the final 16. So it is going to be a battle to get through the regionals and then a battle to put up that trophy.
Yeah, Chad Savage, 1 through 5, talking about Clay, are as good as anybody in the area, right? When you can just stack up hit after hit after hit, and it doesn't matter who it's going to come from. You know it's going to come from somewhere. You talked about those 10 teams that are left in the state playoffs. Cisco, give me the bracket. Here we go. This is what's coming up next for Clay. This is their side of the Division II bracket, Regions 6 and 7. North Ridgeville, Centerville at the top, Riverside, and Brecksville, Broadview Heights. They are going to take on Green is Clay, and then down there you've got Amherst Steel and Massillon Perry. That game between Green and Clay, May 28th.
Yeah, Alyssa, so during your time at Anthony Wayne, what farthest, did you guys regionals and states?
We didn't get to states.
Okay.
Regional finals, maybe?
Okay. So when you guys see a bracket, is there any conversation, just curious, with the coaching staff, head coach, and players, maybe seniors or something like that, to assess a bracket, or is it all straight up one game at a time, one game at a time, one game at a time?
I mean, you'd like to say that everything is one game at a time, but I think it's human nature to look at it and kind of, I think they'll win this one, we should meet up with Brecksville, what have you. But really it is taking it one game at a time. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, you have to win that one to go to the next one. So focusing on, what you need to do each game is, I think, the best way to do it.
Yeah, Clay's number 7 in the state. They're facing Green, who is 5th in the state. So as a fan of softball and a fan of competition in sports in general, you want to see the top teams who have earned it throughout the regular season to advance through districts to get to the point in which we're talking about now, to the regionals now, to make it valid, to avoid the 11 to 1 final in 5 innings type of situation where you got run rules coming into effect at this level. You don't want to see that. You want to see competition. You want to see pitchers earning it in the circle, batters earning it in the box, base runners earning it on the base paths. So we're in for it. Like I said, 10 state-ranked teams in the final 16.
While we're in the D2 bracket, Cisco, real quick, throw up the other side of this Division II bracket. This is Anthony Wayne's side. They'll take on Cincinnati St. Ursula tonight, Wednesday the 28th. Yes, that's the 28th. Today's the 28th.
Yep.
The 29th is not Friday, by the way. I don't know how to count sometimes. Bad things happen to good people, as we say. Kings Mill Kings, Mount Notre Dame are the top 2 teams on the other side. So if we get if the Northwest Ohio gods bless us and we get a state final for either Clay or Anthony Wayne, they wouldn't see each other until the state final 4. Yep. So we'll hope for Akron turning out to where we get a Northwest Ohio state championship. But for now, we've got plenty more to get to, including our game of the week, brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Cisco, you know what to do. Game of the week, the number 2 ranked team in the state, the Perrysburg Yellow Jackets, taking on 6th seed North Canton Hoover, Wednesday the 28th. Tonight, if you are listening live at 5 p.m. on BCSN+. North Canton Hoover playing some defense so far in the playoffs, outscoring their opponents 17-1, 6 shutout wins during the regular season for Hoover. But boy, howdy, this Perrysburg team loaded top to bottom with talent.
Absolutely. I think, I'm taking Perrysburg all the way.
I like that pick. I agree.
Yeah. I think hitting up and down the lineup, they are so incredibly solid. from their small ball players like Yesenia Yu, I love to watch her. I think she's so dynamic, running bases in the box. Haley Griggs, rather obviously just a great leader and someone who, again, has that mentality and brings that kind of moxie and is able to be that glue guy and the leader for the younger kids. But I think Perrysburg is strong defensively, very strong offensively, and I think they're going to be the team to beat.
They're terrific. They last lost on March 24th to
25 straight wins.
to Delaware Hayes, who is also a state-ranked team. So with all of these top 16 teams remaining within the state's top 10 ranking in Division I, 7 of the 10 in Division I are still alive, so it's going to be a difficult path. I told you about the luck of the draw sometimes. So with Perrysburg, if they win this game in the regional semifinals, they will likely face Austintown Fitch, who is the defending state champion in the regional finals, as opposed to if you look at the state rankings, Austintown Fitch is number 1, Perrysburg is number 2. Ideally, as a fan, you would want to see them on opposite ends of the bracket, but that is not going to be the case. You see Perrysburg at the bottom there, and then the other matchup of the winners, Austintown Fitch and then Jackson. So it's going to be difficult for them. You could make the argument if Perrysburg and Austintown Fitch advance to the regional finals. That's kind of like a de facto state semifinal, de facto state championship game. You'd like to say, like Alyssa was saying, so-and-so beat so-and-so. Okay, we could face them, yada, yada, yada. Well, Perrysburg, I think the winner of that Austintown Fitch-Perrysburg game, if it does happen, will be the clear-cut favorite because the 2 seed of the state will be eliminated or the 1 seed will be eliminated. But, yeah, Maddie Van Socken has done tremendous things within the circle for them. You mentioned Yesenia Liu. I'll give you Allie Suberline as well. Haley Griggs, newly named NLL Buckeye Division Player of the Year. They got a chance for 30 wins. They're 26 wins right now. They win 2 games in regionals, 2 games in states. They could have 30 wins. We talk about getting 20 wins is a major accomplishment for any sport that not named football that only plays 10 regular season games. But if you get 30, I mean, that is a stamp of approval, legit state champion. So Coach Ryan DeMars, he's going to have his hands full from here all the way till the end if they're able to do it and carry that bag all the way to the state championship. This is a team that is prepared because they've done what they needed to do in the NLL and they've done what they needed to do outside of the league to challenge themselves up to this point.
Maddie Van Socken, 21-0 on the season. And then Haley Griggs, 1 home run shy of the OHSAA state single season record. Great time to get it would be tonight, I think. Well, that's it. That's a wrap. That's our game of the week. We'll be right back after 30 seconds for Buffalo Wild Wings to put a bow on the rest of the show. Hit it, Cisco.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off Traditional Wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off Traditional Wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Unfortunately, here at the table, I do not have more wings or any wings, but I've got more games, the Midas Games list. Here we go, jam-packed full of playoff baseball, playoff softball, and of course the Hens are back in town. Today, Wednesday the 28th, we've got Wauseon Napoleon in high school baseball. Hoover Perrysburg, we just talked about our game of the week. We got Berea Mid-Park taking on Perrysburg. On the baseball side of things, a local matchup, Clay and St. John's over in Division II action. And then Toledo Villa FC back at it, taking on Steel City FC. Tomorrow, Thursday, Archbold and O Hills, Louisville and the Hens, and then Friday, Louisville the Hens. We've got plenty more Friday, but all of that is TBD depending on who wins, who goes home on these Wednesday and Thursday matchups, Justin.
Yeah, a lot of teams on the baseball side with Napoleon, one of the top seeds with a chance to make some noise. Perrysburg in Division I on the baseball side, a tough road to hoe for them. Unfortunately, the way that these new expanded brackets are playing out with the OHSA across all sports, we saw it in the winter with boys and girls basketball, but at least this first go-around, a lot of area schools from our area, Toledo, Northwest Ohio, having to travel pretty significant distances, in many cases 2-ish hours, and their opponents are having to travel 40-ish minutes, maybe an hour, hour and 15 minutes. So a little bit of a disadvantage for some of our hometown teams, but still, you play the bracket, you play who's in front of you, go get it done, no excuses, play like a champion.
And the Hens are hot, by the way. 3 wins in a row, 7 of their last 8. It is good to be a Toledo fan. Whether you like the Hens, whether you like the Walleye, you sure better like them both. That's it. That's all we got for today's episode. Oh, by the way, 1 month from today,
That's right.
the Italian Bowl comes to the 419
Ciao,
at the
ciao.
Glass Bowl. Ciao, ciao. Get your tickets. Don't miss out. And make sure you don't miss out a brand new episode every single week, 4 p.m. Come back here. Make sure you follow at Alyssa and Sarah at Justin Feldkamp. And don't forget to follow at BCSN Sports. Till next week, we will see you later.